guys, everyone, for joining us here at the National Self-Storage Investment Club. I'm Brandon Robinson, one of the founders of the club, and we have a very, very special group of people that are going to be talking to us today about how we can make money and improve our property and improve our numbers through using carports and things like solar canopies. So let me give you guys a brief introduction of Aric. And let me make sure I'm saying this right. It's Aric Nissen, right?
Correct. I had Scandinavian parents, so my whole life I've been dealing with this Aric, whatever. They Viking would say Aric.
Okay, all right. So do you prefer Aric or Aric? What do you prefer?
Well, are you a Viking fan? No, but just go with Aric. It's all good.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I mean, I actually want to pronounce it like you would do it, Aric.
It's Aric.
Okay, Aric. All right, Aric Nissen has served as Chief Executive Officer and a member of the Board of Directors of Baja Carports since 2024. He is an entrepreneur, business builder, and operator with more than 30 years of experience helping organizations ranging from venture-backed startups to Fortune 500 brands accelerate growth, improve operations, and create long-term value. Prior to joining Baja, Aric held senior leadership roles across a diverse range of industries, including Accenture, Restaurant Technologies, Subway Corporation, and ag tech pioneer Calera. At Calera, he led global sales and marketing initiatives and helped scale the company through its transition to the public markets, supporting pre- and post-IPO growth, commercial expansion, and shareholder engagement efforts. Earlier in his career, he led brand development, product innovation, and advertising for Berkshire Hathaway-owned Dairy Queen, and served as the business leader for the iconic Blizzard brand, one of the company's largest and most successful businesses, generating billions of dollars in annual sales across more than 6,000 locations worldwide. Man, that's quite the... Geez, Aric, yeah, a lot of experience. As CEO...
She makes me sound good. She's good.
So as CEO, Aric is focused on building up Baja's long-standing reputation as one of the nation's leading providers of solar carports, RV and boat canopies, covered storage facilities, and parking infrastructure solutions. He's driving operational excellence, customer focus, and scalable growth while strengthening Baja's position as an industry expert in the design, engineering, and construction of parking and shade infrastructure. At the same time, he is preparing the company for the next phase of growth through integrated solutions that combine steel structures, solar generation, battery storage, EV charging, and intelligent energy management. Aric is the architect of Baja's vision, a world powered by parking, which reimagines parking assets as more valuable infrastructure that generates and stores energy, supports transportation, electrification, strengthens grid resilience, improves customer comfort and convenience, and creates lasting value for businesses, communities, and our nation. Aric holds a Bachelor's of Arts degree and an executive MBA from the University of Minnesota and is an OSHA 30 construction safety certified. He is also the author of the forthcoming book, Parked Power, which explores how parking infrastructure can help meet the growing energy demands of an increasingly electrified economy. Everyone, please help me welcome to the club, Aric Nissen and the Baja Carport Group.
Welcome.
Man, Aric, you have quite the resume. I at first I saw this big page of stuff and I was like, man, I need to put this in ChatGPT and kind of scale it down a bit. But I said, you know what? I don't want to do a disservice, and I want to cover everything it is that you're about. So appreciate you guys joining us, and welcome to the club.
Hey, thank you, Brandon. When I first heard that there was an investment club and they wanted to talk about RV boat, I was so excited, and probably more for the investment club because I've dealt with investors for a lot of my career, done some shareholder, stakeholder, management. And so I love the idea of investment club and investments and helping people make money. So I think before we even get started here, I would say every investor goes into it with the idea of making money. But how we do that begins with a thesis. Like, we have a thesis for why we would make money with this investment. And the thesis around RV Boat is very strong. I think Mark and others are going to talk about that today. Basically, demand is greater than supply, and you can earn a very attractive return, particularly from the canopies, because it costs less money to build a canopy storage system and get into Class A than a fully enclosed, a full kind of structure. And so the economics of that work out very well. Now, my thesis, as you probably heard from the background there, my thesis for buying Baja and bringing an investor group here was because my thesis is that the world is electrifying. So everything from cars to robots to data centers, everything is going to depend on more electricity. And the business I was running 5-6 years ago, the number one input cost was electricity. We were trying to grow food indoors. We were doing it all around the world, and the business model worked. But when electricity prices spiked, the business model flipped, and it cost us more money to grow plants than we were able to get on the market for those plants. So that flip caused me to say, you know what? There's a problem here we're solving, which is as the world electrifies, we need to figure out what's the lowest cost way of generating electricity and how are we going to get that electricity to the load. And so my thesis became, hey, you know, solar is now the lowest cost way of generating an electron anywhere on the planet. The easiest way the lowest cost is you point a solar panel at the sun. That's the lowest cost way of getting an electron into your load, into the grid, whatever. The problem that we have is that the cost of moving those electrons around are now greater than the cost of generating the electricity. So what we have here is a situation where solar and wind certainly are less expensive than nuclear and some of these other forms of power, and it has nothing to do with the environment. The reason utilities are building these is because it's a lower cost. But the problem is our electricity bills keep going up because of the cost of transmission and distribution and getting that power into your outlet. And I was in Florida, and I was walking across one of these huge theme parks, Disney World. You've probably heard of it, with my family, and pondering, like, why did my investment in this ag business go upside down because of electricity? And I'm like, wow, this is it. Parking lots are where we could put all of this power. And that led me to, and this is probably longer than you wanted to get into, but
fine.
Yeah, that led me to go into all these trade shows and figuring out, hey, I was trying to find a better way to do solar. And then I thought the better way to do solar is to build solar canopies. And the best company at building canopies was Baja Construction. And so, and the owner was getting older and wanted to make a transition. And so it worked out. I brought in a private equity group, and that's how this transaction happened, and how I went from ice cream to technology at Accenture to vertical farming to solving electricity as the next great problem. So that's my thesis. Everyone's going to have their own thesis for their investments. The thesis around RV boat storage is really strong. We'll talk about that, but I thought it might be helpful just to share my story and why I'm here today talking to you guys. And part of it is because you're investors. I love talking with investors about what's our thesis and how do we intend to make money from it.
Yeah, no, that's good, because all of us here are looking to make money in storage. And a lot of us, most of us own storage already. A couple of us are just, getting into the business. But those of us that own storage, we have, locations that have excess land for parking. And, what better way to make money off that stuff than to have canopies, and not just canopies, but also canopies that generate electricity. So, very, very excited to have you guys here.
Awesome. Okay, so we do have a few slides for you here. We'll go through them pretty quickly, but I would say we're here for you and your questions. So, at any time, if you want to say, hey, let's get into that. How do I show this presentation now? I don't know.
I think if you click share at the bottom, you should see a share arrow. It should be an arrow inside of a box.
Yeah.
And if you click that, it should allow you to only select your presentation. Or you might have to call Beatrice back in.
Call Beatrice. Want to go get her? Right?
Ray's going to get her because it's got the box where it says stop sharing, but it's not bringing up, which means you are sharing, but it's not bringing up the presentation.
Yeah, you guys can see the screen. We just need to present it, right?
So click stop share. So click that stop share button.
Yeah.
Okay, now click the share button again, and it should give you options as to what you can share. Hopefully.
Yes.
So we've shared. You want to come over here? We're sharing.
Sorry, Beatrice. I messed them up. I messed it up.
Stop sharing now. We need to start sharing again.
There you go. All right. Beautiful.
No. So can we?
Yep. Just go back. We're good.
Can you see?
We can
Yes.
see, but you guys have me like a picture-in-picture, so you can close out that.
I'll close you out.
You can close me out. Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
That good?
That's good.
All right.
Great. Perfect.
Awesome. Okay, so just a little bit about Baja. We pride ourselves on turnkey solutions, successful projects. To date, the company has completed over 10,000 successful projects nationwide. We have 45 years in business. In terms of solar, we've installed over 500 megawatts of solar canopies. In terms of RV boat and shade structures, we've covered over 1 million parking spaces. In terms of the company history, you can see back in 1981, two founders, Bob Hayworth, Luis Fabian in Martinez, California, where we're coming today. We started building storages. So, storage facilities, mini storages. 1984, we opened an additional office in Las Vegas. In 1990 was our first RV boat customer. The customer was another construction company who wanted help with the canopies. And Bob started doing those and he realized, wow, he did one, and then he did three, and then five. And then he's like, wow, these guys, as he followed up with them, were really successful making money. And so actually Bob later on would get into owning his own RV boat and storage facility. In 2008, we moved into solar. In 2011, 2012, we began our first utility scale solar carport for the Port Authority of New York. We opened an office in Hawaii last year. The year before, we got this investment from myself and Compass Group. This next year, we're doing something really cool. I'm going to hold off one more week, but we are building the largest solar carport system for a government entity, and it's going to be very cool. And then we're also introducing our first energy product, which will be a powered solar structure. So basically a battery and a column that you can use to reduce your electricity costs as an operator and provide EV charging at your facilities. This is Bob Hayworth, very cool guy, still on our advisory board. And this is a site that he built last year. This is Manteca Executive RV and Boat Structure. It's a great, it's a wonderful, what we would call Class A RV and boat facility. It is absolutely gorgeous. You can go and you look at it. It's phenomenal. Because it's in California, it also took advantage of a feed-in tariff program, and it generates with solar on top 2.5 megawatts DC of electricity, and that's enough to supply 600 homes. And there's another site that's being built identical to this, 300,000 square feet on the other side of town. So over 1,000 homes in the city of Manteca will have their electricity supplied, or the amount of that electricity supplied by these two facilities. We were one of the, I think we were the pioneer of Class A RV and boat. And what we do here is we custom design to your parcel of land. Every project that gets built in this country gets built with a set of plans, a set of drawings. And we, it'd be a good time to mention Ray Odin. You want to wave to the group there? We always say we have a guy who draws. He does great designs of facilities. If you have a piece of land and you want to see what it would look like, Ray can generate a preliminary drawing for you. But the design and the infrastructure of this facility play a vital role in terms of how it looks and how it feels. And then there's, of course, the standards that we need to engineer to, the seismic, the wind, the snow load in some cases. And the wind varies from Santa Ana winds in Southern California to hurricane force winds in Florida. We've built several facilities in Florida. We like to showcase those and take people to those because they have withstood, I've got to increase the amount, they have now withstood more than 175 mile per hour winds still standing today. And that's something that we're very proud of. These sites are designed to be 50, 100-year sites. The solar panels will last 30, 40 years if you do those, and those will probably be replaced a couple of times in the lifetime of the facility. So that's my part. I'm going to switch it over for a few minutes to a special guest here, Mark Dorado. Mark, I can say without question, has built probably more Class A RV boat facilities than anyone else on the planet. Is there anybody that's done more than you? 40 years of construction, 20 years of canopy, 15 years at Baja?
I'm sure there is, but that's a great intro. I like that. It's a hard statistic to like back up, but I've built quite a few. I have been in construction for over 40 years. I've been doing canopies and RV and boat storages for 20, and I've been here at Baja for 15 years, and I'm now the Director of Project Management here at Baja Construction. I don't know if you guys want to just, if you have certain questions you want answers to, if you want to head it down that road, we can roll through this. This first screen here is statistics from Riva, which is the RV wholesale company that takes all the data and compiles it.
I think I saw Troy Bix on the screen too. So like he'll have a lot of great statistics. The point of this is demand's greater than supply. It does vary a little bit by market. So, we'd recommend a feasibility study, but it's part of your thesis for RV boat versus, let's say, mini storage would be, you can find really good pockets to be profitable now with RV boat. For sure.
I had a question for you guys real quick. In terms of just the RV and boat, are there certain regions that you see where there's more demand than others? For example, like maybe in the south or southeast where there's more lakes and fishing and things like that versus somewhere, say, in the northern part of the United States where it's a little bit colder and not as much outdoor camping. Like, what do you guys? Do you guys see any place where there's more demand?
I think where you want to look for more demand are areas with higher income, higher RV and boat ownership levels. So those tend to be, cities, suburban areas that are within a few hours of what we would call play or recreational areas. Okay. And another thing to look at is the homeowners associations are really clamping down on being able to store these in residential neighborhoods. So those are some things to look at. Obviously, right by areas of play are also good. And I would say near a major highway. Are you going to talk a little bit about location in this?
We can, however they want to move forward. It's either a destination, people leave their RVs there close to the areas they want to play, so they're not driving through traffic to get there. You just take your car, pick your RV up, go out camping, come back and drop it off. Or there's the storage to keep it away from the homeowners association and make sure it's in a secure place. There's two avenues to look at on how you want to build your facility for sure.
Okay. That's good. So a good target. It seems like a good target would be if you have some HOA homes that are near a lake. That'd probably be like the ideal area.
Yeah. Most of the HOAs no longer allow you to park on your side yard or in your front yard.
Oh,
Some
wow.
of them, the older ones, you can park on the side if it's behind a fence, but the streets are so narrow now and the lots are so tight, you know, you need at least 10 feet from on the side of your house to pull an RV in there to be able to open a door. Most of the setbacks on properties are, you know, 7 or 8 feet side to side. They're packing them in for high density. So there's not even a spot to park an RV any longer in most facilities, most newer housing tracts. The older housing tracts you can get away with it, but most of the new houses, there's no room for them.
Okay.
I would also say this is a case where don't be scared by the competition. So that if there is an RV boat storage facility and it's leased out and there's a waiting list, that can often indicate some pent up demand, and that can give you an idea for what the rental rates per square foot are. And then if you come to us and say, hey, look at this parcel, we're able to draw it out. We'll figure out how much rentable space we can get on that parcel. And so that then you basically have the idea of a raw business plan. What will this generate top line in terms of not the vacancy rate, the lease rate, times occupancy times the amount per square foot, and you say, okay, that's my top line, and then here's what I would need to manage it. And then you can get to, okay, this works on a P&L. Let's start to put together market feasibility. Let's start to engage professionals in designing a professional site. And we're happy to help with all of that, hook you up with the right people.
Okay, cool. All right, sorry, go ahead. Keep going. Sorry about that.
One thing to keep in mind, if you're looking at a lot, you're only going to be able to build 60, maybe 70% of that lot due to code regulations, fire setbacks. Everything you build is going to need a retention pond. There's mandates across the country now that the water has to be held on site that you're generating from the rain, from the rooftops and the asphalt, and it has to perk back down into the aquifers. So it eats up about 35–40% of your rentable space. So if you're looking at a plot of land, you're not every square foot of that land is going to generate revenue for you. It's one thing to keep in mind.
What do you expect to get out of like an acre, for example? I have a commercial acre in Pensacola, Florida, right on Blue Angels Highway, and trying to figure out what I want to do with it. High boat and RV demand, but it's only 1 acre. I do have several acres on the other side, but what's feasible to get on 1 acre?
So for 1 acre, it's around 45,000 square feet, right? Usually for a 45,000, usually you can have half of it. The max, it depends on a lot. For a rectangular shape, you can maximize it up to 60% because most of it, you're gonna have drive aisles and then you can have the canopies. But then, like what Mark said, you may have to introduce your detention pond, and you may have other utilities like ice, water station, propane station, dump station. But then on a small lot like an acre, you may not have to put those. But when you're talking of a bigger lot like 5 acres or 10 acres, then that's the time that you're gonna have to introduce some utilities. But most of the time, my main goal when I do the layouts is I go up from 50% up to 60%. So when you're talking of 1 acre, which is like 45,000 square feet, the target is usually 23,000 square feet, 50% to 60%.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say in any of these, if you have a question, it's easy to take a look at it and have Ray draw a few things out. Different states and areas are going to have different standards for what percent has to be retention ponds. We typically find, would you say kind of 5 acres is the...
Yeah, 5 or 10.
Yeah, is a real sweet spot. We can work with less. Certainly we can work with more, do it in phases. You might want to entitle the whole thing and on these bigger sites and then do it in phases so it cash flows. But again, it's a great question. And if it's a specific site, we're happy to take a look at it. And then I'd also say that the amount of rentable square footage, some of that can be optimized depending on how the parking lanes are drawn, how the spaces are designed. And that's where, if I've seen people come in with their own plans, we're able to get more spaces out of that with an efficient design than if you just try to draw it up yourself.
Right, and we would like to mention too, because we have had received layouts that clients gave to us that was drawn by an architect and engineer. They paid for it. What we're offering here at Baja, that's a free service that we do. We've been doing it for the longest time. And so in order for you to, save money, instead of asking an engineer or an architect, since we've been doing this for like 45 years, give it to us and we'll do the service for you free. We'll do it for you.
Yeah.
You don't need to hire an engineer or an architect.
Yeah. For your preliminary drawing. Very cool. Mark, are there some other things that, that was I guess we're into Q&A already.
Yeah. Any other specific questions?
I have a few, but I'm gonna open it up to the group, so that way I don't want to hog all of the Q&A. So yeah, anyone, if you guys have a question, come off mute, ask the question, or you can put it into the chat, and I can ask for you.
I had one more question. If I was going to take up 4 to 5 acres, is there any income generated by selling solar back to the power company if your property's not using all that solar?
Yeah, it's harder to do these days than it used to be because there have been a lot of switches or changes in the net metering plans. Your best bet is if you're in California, is to find a feed-in tariff program.
He's in Florida.
Oh, he's in Florida.
Did you guys do the one in California? Actually, I own a property over in Northern California, up in a city called Grass Valley, California, and the city department, the county up there, all their carports are solar.
Is Grass Valley part of Pacific Gas and Electric, or is it a different power entity?
No, it's part of PG&E.
So there's a program called the REMAP program that PG&E is offering. There's 65 megawatts of power that just came up. It does allow you to get a power purchase agreement through the utility, so it would offtake the solar that you produce. I think the current rate for the PPA through REMAP right now is 8.5 cents a watt.
Oh,
so
wow.
It is
okay.
Awesome.
Hey, Brandon.
Yes. Hey, Troy.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Good to see everybody. I just got a couple real simple comments. First of all, Baja is our platinum partner. They are the best in the business. So bar none experience on these canopies and solar information, and then taking it into these other asset classes. There's no one better in doing that. I like to keep things simple as I can because most of self-storage and boat and RV is premised off of second grade math. It was probably fifth grade math for me, but most of it's premised on second grade math, revenue and cost to build. So the big benefits of this boat and RV craze we're seeing right now that happened after the pandemic. I'm a data person. I was tired of my 40 years in the business seeing data being really built for the REITs so that their beholden investors are feeling good about what they're doing. The great thing about the boat and RV business is we're in a boon for the outdoor recreation industry. So it doesn't matter if you've got a kayak or a paddle board. They're showing that these generations are elevating into these bumper pools and high-end toys. 70% of these are beholden to an HOA. So that's what's driving the business, as they said earlier. So we get the numbers from the RVIA and the boat industry. For the last 4 years in a row, we have seen about 500,000 combined boats and RVs built, just about to the number for the past 4 years. During the pandemic, it was 1 million. So the breakdown is about 350,000 RVs to 150,000 boats right in that neighborhood. If you do the simple math on that and you say 70% of that is beholden to an HOA, we on our board just dropped it down to 50% and said, let's just go real conservative. If there's roughly 400 spaces per Class A boat and RV, give or take, we would have to build 52 new boat and RV facilities a month. We're not building 20. So this supply just keeps extrapolating out to being bigger and bigger and more. Um, the really cool things about this industry is there's no dumpsters. You're collecting rents for someone's toy. That's gigantic versus a 10 by 10 that has mattresses and dresser drawers and things like that. So there's just a great future in this asset class, and it's going into the RV resorts industry, which is just a full circle. We're seeing canopies at these RV resorts where you actually have space to grow a garden. And the amenities is what we haven't even scratched the surface. They're built with pickleball courts, tennis courts, all kinds of really cool amenities. And what we're building here and what these Class A facilities, storage facilities are their communities. They're happy places. People are coming or going from their vacations. It's not death, divorce, and some of those other things. And I don't want to badmouth conventional self-storage. I've been in it for a long time. But to say it's not at a tipping point, I disagree with wholeheartedly. I just watch what my kids do, and they don't see any value in holding on to stuff that they can sell. They don't have that emotional value of stuff from the past, and actually think that's smart. But I'll shut up now. But the Baja folks, they do a great job.
Well, I actually had some questions for you, Troy, as you were talking. You don't have to shut up because I know you're one of the you're an expert and an industry leader too in RV and boat storage. One of my questions is, what is what are you saying as the delinquency rate on customers that store RV and boat storage? Because for us that own storages, we have like 10%, 20% of our customers every month are getting behind, and we have to lien sell them. Like, is there a certain number in RV and boat storage, and is it much less than
Extremely
boat
less
storage?
because again, you have their toy.
Yeah.
They don't pay late and they pay. The one thing Bob and I go back to 1986. The beauty of this industry is, again, you have a toy. They want to make sure they can get through that gate. So they want to make sure that they're current. So late pays and things like that, if that's what you're asking me, is pretty much non-existent.
Okay. So not even 1%, 2%?
I haven't even heard of a percent because
Okay.
again, it's just very rare unless the Aric and the guys have a number they know of. I don't know of one to give you.
Yeah, Bob for Oakley told me, and I guess he basically said in 12 years he's never had anybody not pay him. And I think and then the 12th year, as soon as he told me that, someone didn't, but it's pretty rare.
Okay. I guess it's probably a difference between if it's covered versus the ones that are kind of open parking spaces. Those folks probably care a little bit less about their vessels than someone that's paying to have it under a covered space, I would assume.
Yeah, this is Mark. I can tell you, I keep track of Bob Hayworth's properties, right? So there's 4 of them.
Uh-huh.
In the 13 years he's owned RV and boat storages, they've not had to repo one or remove one for non-payment.
Wow.
Out of
Boom.
all my lates, I've never had a late on a boat and RV on any of my late. I have 10 lates right now, and not one of them's on a boat or RV.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Marty. Is it possible for them to skip? I've got a facility where I'm gonna put in some covered parking for RVs, and so I have an access control gate. But I was also wondering, is there a tool that you can like put a boot on their RV or something. Like on a storage facility, it's easy to overlock somebody. But if it's just open parking, covered parking, I was thinking about that, not really coming up with an idea on how to prevent
Yeah,
them
Marty,
from just
there,
getting out
there's
getting out the gate. You know, if they piggyback in to the facility, and then they could just, you know, drive out.
Most folks have that data at the gate. They can't get in through the gate. That security should be at your gate. If they're delinquent and they owe you money, they can't get in the facility.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'll
think
have
you,
that capability. I was just wondering.
yeah, I think he was
I would
asking
assume
it,
you
like
say,
if someone just piggybacks or follows somebody in, I don't know, is it legal to put some type of boot or lock on their wheel if they are behind on their rent?
It's a great question, and this goes back decades. But I would contact, the Jeff Greenbergers, the Scott Zuckers that have been in the business for a long, long time, because certain states it is illegal. And in the long run, you might want that person to get out of there anyway if they're not going to pay you, and rent it to somebody who's gonna pay you and be a loyal customer. So sometimes it might be, hey, don't let the door hit you on the way out, type thing in this business, and rent it to somebody who sees the value of your facility. The parking thing was interesting earlier. The problem with the open parking, and there's some communities that are full of it. I don't understand it with these high-end rigs, why you wouldn't, at very least, canopy
Yeah.
these sites. And what's going to happen is if you're not looking at that, you're going to lose a competitor to that model here real soon. It's just a matter of time. So when they start, you know, firing up their rigs and going down the street because there's a beautiful canopy that's Class A. So Class A, you need to have a canopy or fully enclosed, concrete or pavement, a gate, and a fence. Those are the minimum requirements for a Class A.
Out here in Florida, I see people with $300,000 brand new boats sitting out in the sun. It kills me to watch people do that. I just don't
Yeah.
understand. And there's no covered parking in this area. There's
Yeah.
very few.
I think Baja might help out.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned real
Can I-
quick, before I let you go, you mentioned real quick that you're seeing these in some of the RV developments, because I'm building an RV resort up in Northern California right now. Are you seeing people putting in these solar structures to offset the power you're using in these RV developments? These RV parks?
That's another good question, because we got out of the conventional self-storage business a few years ago, and we're really storage redefined. So we're really in the recreational business, and we want to complete this full circle, which happens to be, for most folks don't know that Marriott, Hyatt, Hilton, they're all around the country looking for 15, 20, 30 acre parcels because they want to build these RV resorts, because they're losing a lot of revenue to glamping and all these things going on. Their room rates, their beautiful resorts have gone down in occupancy. So they're seeing that there's this opportunity for these outdoor folks to have that experience. And there's one in Camp Verde, Arizona here. This guy is really smart. So for years he had a RV resort. He's the one that has the canopies, and he does have solar panels. Unfortunately, in Arizona, there's not really a feed-in tariff, but he can use full meter, meaning, he can light up his resort like a Mercedes dealership, and he does. So he has three levels on his RV resort: a lower, a middle, and a high level. The higher level, you get views of Sedona. You can build a garden. You have a lot of space in between the other rig, which most campgrounds, like the campgrounds, are going to have a branding problem because these things are morphing into resorts. So no more do you back up right next to your neighbor and you can hear everything they're doing, unfortunately. You hook up your water, your electric, and your septic. These things, like I said, they have room. They're full circle. So if you're not at the storage facility, you're on the road or you're at a resort. But with these major brands looking at the business very seriously,
Oh, yeah.
they're building these things, and you're going to see amenities, amenities, amenities. That's going to be what 27, 28 is going to be about. What can you do more to serve your whether it's one of your renters, tenants at a resort or a facility. These folks don't want to change tires. They don't want to fill up the propane. They don't want to clean them. So they
Yes.
have in these RV resorts cleaning services like your home. They'll come in and clean it. You can call with a grocery list and find out that, hey, here's your groceries in your rig. The AC's on. The kiddos and the family jump in and they go. It's all about service. So this all ties in to the storage piece. So more folks are buying toys, and with the HOAs dictating more and more, and typically the higher end neighborhood, the less you can have. Most neighborhoods that are built in the last 10 years, you can't even coast a Harley Davidson
Yeah.
in your garage. And one of Bob's sites that I visited years ago had a Harley Davidson in like a 13 by 40 canopy space. So the guy was shining up his motorcycle, and I talked to him. He said, "Well, two things." And he said, "I get away from my wife for a little bit," and he said, "No one can bother my motorcycle." And it was just, he said, "My buddies and I meet, and he's got a motorcycle in the middle of a 14 by 40 canopy space. So there you go. Couldn't even have his motorcycle at his house.
Yeah, that's I've done real estate for 22 years, mostly up above Sacramento and the Roseville, Rockland, suburbia area. And you can't wash your car in your neighborhoods anymore. You can't park motorcycles.
Terrible.
You can't have an RV. You can't park your boat overnight in your driveway. And it's getting more and more ridiculous. That I got out of California. I'm in Florida now, but it's nuts up there. But I just got off a 5-week trip, and every RV park I went into had lazy rivers and restaurants, and the camping is really getting high end now. And same thing with the parks, where I used to keep my RV had power and everything for your RV just with canopy covered, but it had a 30 amp plug where you could plug in your RV when it's stored as well. So I could see the solar working good for that type of setup.
Yep. Resorts are going to be big talk of the next 3 years. Not campgrounds, resorts.
Yeah, mine was a lakefront resort before I'm adding 32 RV sites, but it's California. I'm 2 years in, and 300,000 before I even touch the ground.
Yeah. A couple questions. Marty, did you have a question? Because there was a couple questions in the chat that I wanted to ask.
Yeah, I had like two more questions. So I have an existing storage facility. I'm adding the covered parking to it on a section. Would you say it would be mandatory to include at least like 110 volt outlet at each slot for trickle chargers, or is that something that people absolutely want to have and just a covered parking?
It's a great question. I'm going to go to Mark here, who was just helping a customer with this question the other day. And there's a difference between full power, and you probably don't want to be in that business, versus convenience charging. Do you want to talk about that, Mark?
So the trickle charger is high in demand for sure. You want to keep your battery fresh. The infrastructure to build it, you don't want to have each individual outlet for each individual RV controlled by a single breaker, because your infrastructure, you'll be adding sub panels and 400, 500, 6 amp services to supply that demand. The facilities that we have put together, there'll be 8 to 10 receptacles on one 15 amp breaker, and they're shared through, and they're designed to have about 1.5 amps of draw per circuit to keep the batteries fresh. It's not to turn the AC on. It's not to keep the refrigerator going. And in your lease, you just want to make sure that, nobody can live there. Nobody can go there and party there. Once you rent something out, you're in total responsibility for the stuff that's parked there. So you just want to be able to trickle charge it. You don't want to individually meter it. The majority of the people are charging $25 to $35 a month for the trickle charge, and they're all making money off of it.
Okay. One other question, if I could. So I'm just adding like 14 of these covered parking spots. And I was like the closest two places, they're full waiting list. That's why I decided to do this instead of adding more storage. But I was thinking from a marketing standpoint, I already have a guy, I put a deposit on a building. I'm sorry, I wish I had seen this, a couple months ago. But I was wondering, like from marketing, what am I going to do to try to fill that space up? Just like Google Ads, or do you send out mailers, or what would you recommend?
So your digital footprint is going to be your best salesperson. Having a website, and then working with an agency to generate leads and then convert those leads into sales. But it's really a digital marketing game at this point, of being found what people are looking for. If there's a waiting list at nearby facilities, people are looking for places to store their toys, store their vehicles. So it's really a question of how do you get found when people are searching? They're searching on their phones, they're searching on the web.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. And if the storage group, there's a bunch of them in the industry that do this kind of marketing, but the storage group, based out of, they're somewhere in Florida, they'd be a good call to start with, but there's a lot of really good ones in the boat and RV space. But Aric's right, the digital platforms are really going to scale for you.
If Marty,
All
if
right,
you want to, I'm going to put my email in the chat here. If you just send me an email, I'll send you a link to those folks.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Couple questions, and hey guys, so for future reference, if you're looking for any type of carports or solar ports across the nation, you guys do all 50 states, right?
We're nationwide. I should have said that up front. Yes.
Yeah. I think you even did I saw something on your LinkedIn. You guys are doing something in, is it South America or Latin America somewhere? You guys got something going on?
I think we've done something in Mexico. We've done a couple projects.
Few in Mexico.
This was before my time. I'm still looking for my first international building experience. I know that's not easy, but looking forward to it.
Yeah.
We have a lot of interest from Canada. I'll tell you that. Electricity's going up there too.
Okay.
Whereabouts are you guys based out of?
So we are here in Northern California. We have an office in Southern California, in Phoenix, in Las Vegas, and in Hawaii. But again, we're nationwide. We do projects in Florida. We've done projects in New Jersey. We've done, I think, in every state except for North Dakota. And I think that's just because there aren't people in North Dakota. It's cold and electricity is cheap. I don't know why we haven't done projects in.
Whereabouts in Northern California are you?
So we're in Martinez. It's East Bay area.
Nice. That's where most of my clientele come from. Maybe I'll have you guys take a look at my resort in Northern California and see if there's a way to lessen power use, because just the resort itself has about a $4,000 a month power bill. But once we add the RVs into it, it's going to go crazy. And so to find some type of solar solution for that would be ideal.
Yeah. Yeah. And so again, that's not the, hey, feed in tariff, we're going to do multiple megawatts. It's literally, you have an electric bill in California that's very, very high. And business, we're happy to take a look at it and come up with a solution that saves you a little bit of money.
Yeah, that's only a couple hours from you guys. It's just about 45 minutes north of Sacramento, in between Sacramento and Truckee.
Nice.
Looks like you're in an RV.
I'm actually sitting in my RV. I'm in Florida at my park, but yeah, I come out here to get away from the wife, nice and quiet. So I do these meetings in my RV because it's nice and quiet.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just got off 5-week trip in my RV. I spend a lot of times and go to a lot of these parks, so it helps to go to these parks when you're building one, kind of see what you want to do.
So hey guys, I got two. There's two questions in the chat, and then I had two questions that I wanted to ask you myself. So first one from the chat, Irvin is asking, are batteries for storing capacity kept on site, and if so, for the facilities along the Gulf Coast, how do you protect the batteries against hurricane flooding due to water surge?
Yeah, it's a great question. I would say right now, batteries are not part of the solution. that we see a lot of customers using, but they will be very soon. And the reason for that is, as a business owner, you pay two parts of your electric bill. One is a kilowatt per hour rate, which tends to be lower than what residential customers pay. And then you have a demand charge, which is based on the highest amount of power that you pull in a 15-minute period that month. And so if you're, say, and storage facility is not the ideal customer profile, but if you're a grocery store or anything that's turning on equipment or a hotel, you're pulling power, and a battery can keep that peak shape just the way that solar can. So we're going to see a lot more batteries soon in all of our lives, and actually Baja has a battery product that we're going to be rolling out this year. The question, how do you protect against normal flooding? That's the modules are designed with the protection rating, so they're enclosed, and then the battery system is enclosed. I would say against normal rain, normal flood. Now, a hurricane type flood where it's submerged for 3 or 4 feet for multiple days, I don't know if we're designed to protect against that, but I would say we'd probably want to elevate those batteries if it's in an area that could get a storm surge, kind of thing. But I used to say in our lifetimes that like batteries are going to become so cheap that they're going to replace transmission wires, and that was like 5 years ago. 2 years ago, I was saying in our life, maybe in 5 years. Now this year, the cost of battery modules is going down so far so fast that they're going to make sense for virtually every business. It's just how fast do we allow that technology to get into the United States, because a lot of it's coming from China and Asia countries. But the cost of battery and energy storage is just plummeting, and it's going to be crazy good for the economy because it will make electricity more affordable.
Yeah. Thanks, appreciate it. And then KK has a question. I guess this is also Troy that I think you probably can speak to this also. Do you have any data on pricing premium for fully enclosed vehicle storage versus canopies within same store properties?
Here's what I do have. So I've seen a ton of these data companies come and go in the 40 years that I've been in the space. We recently on our board call got to see StoreTrack. They have the best data platform in the boat and RV space I've seen by far. So James Brunick over at StoreTrack, I would highly get a hold of him to get all these rates because they change so much. They're doing so many different things. They've got an AI piece to it. So I'd highly recommend looking at their platform.
Sorry,
Yeah,
also this is KK.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, KK. Go ahead.
Sorry, if I could just ask a follow-up question to that. At your facilities, do you have any enclosed vehicle storage? And in general, in your experience, do you get a lot of customers asking for fully enclosed? What's the general appetite out there?
If that question is for us, the facilities that Bob owns, they are just canopy sites. I'll also say that is probably 10% of the entire RV boat market. So a lot of sites do have enclosed, and so if you want some enclosed, we can include that. It's going to depend on your market. Flex space right now is very hot, so using enclosed for not just RV boat, but using it for commercial purposes. It's a little bit of a different business model because you're going from the equivalent of airport parking, where it's kind of park at your own risk, versus there's some different insurance things that come into play when you do fully enclosed. Also, the cost of building fully enclosed is about 2 times what the
Not quite 2. I mean, you're looking open $15-16 a foot, depending on where you're at. If you're in Florida, it could be $18 or $20 a foot. Enclosed hovers, not including the slab. So the difference with the enclosed, you can get the structure built for $28 to $35 a foot, but you're going to also have to pay for the slab that it sits on. It's not included with the canopies, or the canopy system. And then doors, you got to make sure you have hurricane rated doors if you're in Florida, so they're a little more money. So it's totally doable.
Yeah, it's a math equation. It starts with first, what does the market want? And we'll build what the market wants. And then the square footage that you get for a rental rate from, canopy versus enclosed, you're going to get a higher ROI and a faster payback and IRR on the canopy. But if your market needs some enclosed, you're going to want to do the whole thing and do the right thing. And again, Ray here is happy to draw anything that you can come up with or that your market needs.
Yeah,
That's
and
great.
I'll add on to this. They're 100% right, but I'm a big advocate of feasibilities. I've seen a lot of people penny wise and pound foolish, where they go in with this multi-million-dollar project, but they don't want to pay a couple, two or three of the experts a feasibility study, and that doesn't make any sense at all because they'll have data that the store tracks don't have, and vice versa. So you're going to invest these millions of dollars, man. Really look at what your market needs. And that data is going to go a long, long way and save you a lot of brain damage and heartache.
Alex has a question. Who are the best companies for feasibility for Bolton RV expansion?
I'm going to go with Joe Beth White, Storage Consulting, Jim Chiswell. There's also some folks coming up the ranks that are a little bit younger. There's some really good ones. You can get a hold of me at troy.bix@toystoragenation.com, and I'll help in any way I can.
Toys.
I also second with Joe Beth White. You'll spend between $6,000 and $10,000 on a feasibility study, but it's worth every penny, as Troy said. If you hit me up at Troy's email or my email, happy to hook you up with Joe Beth.
All right, I had how much time do you guys have, Aric and the Baja team? Do you guys got time for a few more questions?
11:30, so I can do a couple more questions here.
Okay. A couple questions I had is just on the cost and the lead time. So on a property that, let's say we own it, or we want to expand and we have the slabs down, what's the typical cost to us for purchasing the canopies and having you ship them and do the installation?
Yeah, it's going to be based on square footage.
Yep.
We'll give you some ballparks, but I'm going to tell you every site is a little different because of wind, seismic. If you're on a ridge in Wyoming or you're on a fault line in California, you just never know. You want to take a stab at some ballpark cost, Mark?
You're talking
like just cost per foot. Like, so for storage, if I'm going to build enclosed storage, it's typically, if I own the land, maybe $70-$80 a foot. Like what's the per square foot cost for just having the canopy shipped and delivered and installed?
So open RV, you're looking 15 to 18. Enclosed, you're probably looking 27 to 35, depending on where you're at. And the enclosed doesn't include the slab.
Right.
The RV includes the foundation drilled, poured, and installed.
Okay.
What about a solar model? So something with the solar panels that's producing energy. What costs are we looking at? Something like that.
Yeah, the solar is generally quoted on a dollars per watt basis.
Okay.
So commercial solar is about $2 per watt. And the current efficiency of modules is about 21, 22 watts per square foot. So if you want to, say it's $40 to $50 per square foot, but it does come with a payback period because that will generate obviously revenue from that investment and offset your electricity bill.
Yeah. Okay.
And I had a question for you guys. Just, I know you said you would help with the architectural drawings. Do you also assist in, I guess, some type of consulting and going to the city, getting the plans and the permits? Do you guys assist in all of that as well?
Well, that's really hard work. These guys are on me because I'm so customer focused. If a customer wants something, I just tend to say yes, and then we'll figure out how we're going to pay for it later. That's not the best business philosophy. It's really hard work dealing with a lot of these local entities, and it takes a lot of time.
So the best thing to do is we will help you get the structural drawings. We can help you find, you're going to need a civil engineer for sure to come up with a 100-year flood to get planning approved. So once you get the planning approved, you combine the civil with the architectural. You may be able to do it without an architectural drawing, just get the civil and the canopy drawings. Hire a local plan check expediting company that works with the jurisdiction that you're trying to get into, because they know the ins and outs of that JHA, and you will be way better off having a local person who deals with that jurisdiction pull those permits for you. That's the safest answer.
All right. I got you. Okay. Yeah, it is a pain dealing with the cities. I thought maybe it's something you guys did, but you know, for a fee or for additional, you know, for an additional fee.
We're here for all the moral support you need.
In California, I'd pay that fee. No.
Right.
Well, I mean, good example. Like, we have a client. You were just telling me this the other day. We have a customer in North Carolina, just pulled the permit fee, and it was what?
Yeah, you guys won't believe this. So I got him his engineered drawings on July 20th. He got the permit from Greenville, North Carolina yesterday. The permit fees for 3 canopies, it's, how big is that? It's on an acre, 2 acres, right? It's a couple acres.
Yeah.
$250.
Yeah.
Wow.
$250 in 6 weeks.
In 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Now to put that on, in California, the one that had a picture of Bob Hayworth, his new facility in Manteca, that was 311,000 square feet. It took 2 years to get the permit, and the permit fees for the city of Manteca was $1.2 million.
Yeah, I can believe that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in 2 years and over $300,000 just trying to get 32 RV sites put in.
Yeah. And what the jurisdictions are doing now is they're starting to permit each individual canopy so they can hit you with origination fees on every application. So in Manteca, there were 14 permits because there were 14 canopies.
Wow.
And if you string them all together and make it one canopy, then you've got to deal with the fire department.
Yeah, fire sprinkle. Yeah, it's bad.
So if you want to know why we have a housing affordability crisis in California, I would start with permitting and regulations. This is where I would start.
Yeah.
And you guys, as far as the construction, you guys handle it all in-house, or would we need to have, hire a general contractor to install the?
We have both a GC and a steel specialty contractor license. So, and I should have mentioned this at the beginning, part of the investment in Baja was because the crews have been here, some of them for 40 years. And we now have 2nd generation crews. We self-perform all the work in-house. We do pay a little bit more for our labor, but they're also more efficient than the day labor of some of our competitors with fewer mistakes. So we do it in-house.
Nationwide.
Yeah.
Good. What about, do you guys have any type of in-house financing, or are there specific lenders that you could partner with to get the financing for?
Yeah, so you guys email me if you need a feasibility study, a marketing study, if you need financing help, I'm happy to refer you to people that can help. We have people that have financed Baja's and Bob's facilities, and we have some national people as well.
Brandon, Live Oak is a leader in this space.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just wasn't sure. I deal with Live Oak. I just wasn't sure if they did the canopies, but that's good.
Yeah. So Bishesh and Ann from Live Oak are great, and particularly if you go on the SBA route, they're a preferred SBA lender, and that's probably the way to go. if you need California specific, we also have some resources here.
Okay, that's great. Man, I appreciate you guys joining us. I appreciate your time. This is great information. And if we need to contact you, should we contact just you direct, Aric? Aric at Baja Carports. If we
An email, I'm happy to hook you up with. If I can't answer the question, I'll hook you up with somebody who can, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Wish you guys the best of success in your investments, and let me know how they're going. Let us know how we can help.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for
Hey,
joining.
Brandon,
Yes,
you're San Antonio Spurs. When I saw that, being a Phoenix Suns guy, I just about turned my screen off, man. That hurts me. Come on, man. Come on. You got to start out with the Spurs.
Yeah, but we had some rivalries back when you guys had Stoudemire and Nash and
Barkley was in there in the day. And the Spurs just beat on us. I've been to a lot of games and I just walked out just mad at the world over the Spurs, and I hate them.
no, man, I love him. I'm a Duncan. Duncan's my favorite player. Duncan.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Hey, Troy, are you coming? So next week we have Devin Beasley is going to be with us, just talking about ways that we can get into purchasing existing RV and boat storages. So he'll be here next Wednesday. Are you joining us for that?
I can. I don't want to get in anybody's, way in any way, shape, or form. I just want to help where I can. He's the best of the best in buying and investing, and he's also a board member like Aric is. So if I could help, sure, but I don't want to get anybody's way. So it's up to you guys.
No, come back. That's fine, man. You have a wealth of knowledge that you can share as well. I mean, he'll be presenting, but you can come and share your insight as well.
He's damn good. He knows what he's talking about, and he's the future as well.
Yeah, no, he's on top of it. He's probably the number one broker in that RV boat.
By far. By far.
Yeah.
And he's going into the resorts piece and the marina side. The marina business is a whole new model, but we'll talk about that someday.
All right, gotcha. All right, so yeah, guys, again, club. So August, we're dedicating this entire month to RV and boat storage. So next week we'll have Devin Beasley that'll be with us, and Troy will, he'll pop in here as well. And then the following week we'll have Scott Ramser. Scott, he owns RV Storage Depot, and he's one of the largest owners of RV and boat storage in the nation. So he'll be joining us to talk about just how to value and how to underwrite and come up with numbers to purchase RV and boat storages, or even to develop RV and boat storages as well. So be sure to join us.
You think we're heading that way to more RV and boat storage versus flex storage or enclosed storage?
Man, I would say yes, only because right now self-storage, and a lot of you guys know this, it's very oversupplied, oversaturated all across the country. In every single major market that I'm selling storages in, I'm seeing a dip in occupancy by as much as 15 to 20%, and that's affecting value. So the pipeline for developing enclosed storage or regular traditional self-storage, it's it's getting very thin, and people are there's not as strong of an appetite to develop that. But there's a big opportunity in RV and boat storage because it's just not as saturated as self-storage. And a lot of RV and boat storage, it's just kind of like an afterthought on an existing self-storage. Like you'll have a self-storage, and then you'll have, we'll have 20 spaces dedicated for RV and boat. So there's just not as much competition as there is in traditional self-storage.
I'm thinking about switching some open that's gated already, that open, trying like 10 canopies out and see how they rent out and go from there.
We should do it, man, especially in your market. So I was looking in your market, Scott, where you own in Pensacola, and I mean your square foot per capita for this is Store Track, by the way. Speaking of, and if you guys want any data on storage, especially RV and boat storage, I would highly recommend you guys contact James Bernig at Store Track, and I can send you his information if you want it. But yeah, based off of your market, I mean, you're at 1.48 square foot per capita in terms of RV and boat storage square feet. So
is that open or covered or enclosed? Because there's a ton of open, but I don't see much enclosed at all around here, or not enclosed but covered parking.
yeah, it's probably a mixture of both. I'm not. I mean, I don't know if they break it out.
They do. Yeah, they do. You need to go in a little bit deeper, and they'll give you that market is a lot of open and to me poised to be canopied minimally.
Yep.
Probably a lot of Scott Ramser's site. He's a big open parking guy.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, so no, actually here it does have some stats on covered. If you want, Scott, I can send you some of these reports that you can go through so you can see.
That'd be great, because I'm trying to figure out what to do, not only with the 1 acre of commercial.
Oh, I think we lost his
And
signal.
so, and I don't think I want to build more traditional storage on it, even though, I'm trying to figure out how to value add to the property. And do you get when you're selling price per square footage, does the covered RV storage still give you a decent price per square footage when you're selling your property?
It does, because it is. I mean, you're not going to get as much as you would for fully enclosed. Obviously, that's going to be at a higher price per square foot, but it does give you, it does help because it's all income based. So, the more income that you generate from those covered canopies, that's going to increase your revenue, increase the NOI, and if somebody's valuing your spot off of a cap rate, then that covered RV is just going to help.
Because it should go from about $75 to about $200 for a parking spot. Because open, I get about $75. In the market, it kind of looks like about $200 for a canopy covered parking spot.
Yeah, it looks like in your market, it's about a $1.23 per square foot for covered parking.
Okay.
That's what I saw based off the records that I saw on Store Track.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you got like say a 12 by 20, you're getting about $1.23 a square foot off of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, follow the data.
Yeah. Good advice.
Yeah. Cool. Well, hey, I thank you guys again, Baja team, for coming. Those of you guys that are on, I'll stay on for a couple minutes if you guys want to chat and you got some deals that you want to talk about or discuss. Other than that, for the rest of you, I'll see you guys here next Wednesday, again, 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific.
Thank you, Brandon, Investment Club.
Yep. Good job, Baja.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, bye.